And good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition here of the Man of Steel podcast of Show Blitz here. It is week 3 as the Steelers will be hosting New York Jets at Acrisure Stadium. Kickoff time will be, of course, at 1 Eastern time as the Steelers need to get a big win in a hurry because coming up after that, 3 out of their next 4 games and their 4 remaining games this month will be against winning teams. 3 of them of which will be on the road this month. So it is a huge rally cry right now for this team because after that, it does not get rosier following this matchup. Because remember, they will be on the road next week versus the Buffalo Bills. Then on October 16th, they're only remaining their second game at home, which would be the remaining one for this month against the Buccaneers, and then back-to-back games on the road at Dolphins and at the Eagles, which they have not won in the 60s. To say this is a big game would be a little bit an understatement to say at least. They desperately need to have this win figured out today in this matchup. Today's game, the announcers that will have the call for this game will be Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta, and AJ Ross will be the announcers on CBS at Acrisure Stadium. And good morning. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MouseSteelCGR and on Instagram at MouseSteelNation. And there's been a lot of frustration, of course, the last week. With the offense, more particularly with Mitch Trubisky still being the starter. I see the frustration mind grow amongst fans and so far little by little with teammates right now. I mean, not necessarily saying directly his name, but as far as like involvement and stuff. And starting to see it take fold because this team, believe it or not, I mean, this is still a very competitive team. It's very sloppy on defense, to say the least. Since the beginning of last year, if you ask me, I mean, they're still legitimately good as far as like getting sacks still. I mean, thank goodness for Alex Highsmith, who leads the team with 4.5 sacks this year. In large part due to TJ Watt being hurt. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the lack of turnovers they forced on defense has gone down since. And you look at that trend right here, which is a little disappointing right there. They have 5 in the opening game versus the Bengals back in week 1. And ever since then, they only got 1 takeaway, and that was in the New England Patriots game. So they got a lot to figure out right now here, as you can see. And they only got 5 interceptions for the year. And of course, 1 fumble recovery. So it's a 6 total for the year, which ranks 7th in the league. But again, a lot of that came from the week 1 matchup versus the Bengals right now. And it's just sickening to see that the Steelers are 0-6 now, lifetime, without TJ Watt, which is a really disturbing trend. Would you like to see them get corrected in a hurry? Because to be honest, their games, like I said, the last 2 games, defensively, I think they pretty much held their own. They're winnable games right there. Just needed to have a few more first downs, controlling the time of possession. That has not happened. We're right here. And this is where they're going to be going right now. They find themselves right now at the bottom of the AFC North, unfortunately, at 1-2. As written by Teresa Riley of the Steelers, running back Najee Harris went to bat for the offensive line, saying, "It's how much I need to improve rather than how much we're talking about the O-line everywhere," said Harris. It's not the O-line. I think the O-line did a really good job last week, really starting from the Patriots game. They did a really good job controlling what they can control. It just comes down to me. Really just me doing more and trusting them. I need to trust them more. We got some really good guys. They've done a really good job of getting better, and they are good. We do have a good old line. Too much of what I see on social media is how bad they talk about our line, but it's not. It's me. We just need to keep focusing on them and focus on me. That is one thing I do what to address and pull it and put it out there. Remember, Heresy is also one of the teams. Kansas this year. He feels comfortable with what the offense is doing, and the key for the players in his mind is sticking together despite the outside noise. Play calling and all that is fine, said Harris. It's just about us executing. You guys keep blaming other people. It's us in this locker room. We all need to come together and focus on what we need to improve on. Every week, every day, we go out and practice. It's not going to be perfect as long as the trajectory is going forward. That is all that matters. Unfortunately, the run game right now, which hasn't shown much to be excited for. I mean, it's barely starting to warm up, but at the end of the day, right now, they're 24th in the league in rushing the ball, 270 yards off of 66 attempts right now, which is a little bit of an embarrassment right now because as much as we want to slam Mitch Trubisky too, and don't get me wrong, I always said this about him. He's a guy who looks the part. I mean, puts on the good face and image. But at the end of the day, when he gets exposed on that field, he's not the long-term starting quarterback as we know. Running game needs to pick up. I mean, you look at the last two games in particular, Jalen Warren, he has had better yards per average versus Najee Harris. He is averaging 5.6 yards per attempt in those versus Najee has had 3.5 yards. Granted, Najee did have more rushing yards to 105 yards off 30 carries, but Jalen Warren, he's got 45 yards off of 8 carries right there. So some people argue that he is slowly outplaying him right there. Now, again, that is the average. But that is one thing that needs to help Mariners. You need to help open up this offense a lot better. I mean, if they're going to be doing a lot more, and the verdict's still out on Matt Canada too. I mean, with Mike Tomlin, and that continues to be one of the criticisms around Mike Tomlin. You haven't seen an offense do this well since they last had Todd Haley, and that is an embarrassment. I mean, Todd Haley, we all know how his ending went. I mean, more particularly with Ben Roethlisberger's frustration right there. I mean, some micromanaging going on there. But at the end of the day, too, when you truly think about it, that was the last time they were fluently clicking on all cylinders. I mean, this offense right now, as you look at it, I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, basically, they have not been top 10 since 2018. Now, granted, they did have one good year under first-year offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner, who was the quarterbacks coach, I believe, the year prior. But still, I mean, that was a year that Ben threw for over 5,000 yards. I mean, which eventually, arguably, led to him blowing out his elbow the following year, playing years off his shoulder injury. I mean, you look at that 2018 year, despite missing the playoffs, they ranked 4th in total yards with 6,453 yards. I mean, a lot of that, of course, was Todd Haley's fingerprints on there. I mean, and they're also, too, still, close to dead last in the run game, but still. I mean, this run game hasn't been, top 10 in a long time. And the last time it's been remotely decent, middle of the pack, which was in 2017. Not that impressive, but it was 15th. I mean, where they ran for 1,667 yards on 437 attempts, averaging 3.8 yards per attempt. And that's where things kill this team right here. And you wonder, how in the world are they going to be just respectable? I mean, the running attack right now it has definitely been a problem for years. I mean, as far as like overall as a whole, I mean, you had some good backs in there. I mean, with Le'Veon Bell, and of course, passing on to James Conner, who shown flashes of it when he was healthy, but more as a scrimmage guy. But then to Najee Harris. Najee Harris, who's taking his time warming up. And they just the Steelers for right now, for whatever reason, it's killing them in the end. I mean, last time, I mean, when you think about this team, yeah, it's just very disturbing trend, to say the least. I mean, Mike Tomlin right now, the only time his team has ever been top 10 in running the ball was back in his rookie season as head coach. Steelers were third in the league in rushing with 2,168 yards. And guess who that was by? That was by guys like Willie Parker right there, who had an amazing year. 1,316 yards along with 164 yards receiving, 1,480 yards of scrimmage. I mean, hard to believe that Steelers haven't been top 10, yellow, and top 5 in about 15 years. And that's an embarrassment right now for this team. So we'll see if in time, creativity-wise, can they get this corrected? Because, like I said, as I mentioned last week, like third down conversions right here, especially on 5 yards or less when they need to convert third down, they're passing 20 out of the 24 plays that they're doing. So they've gone as a whole 10 to 24, which includes 6 of 20 on passing on 5 yards or less, but yet they are perfect 4 for 4 in running the ball in that category. So that's 42% for 5 yards or less. What's over 5 yards, the Steelers are 13 of 39, which includes 9 of 33 on passing, 4 of 6 on running the ball. So what's the problem there right there? It shows you how much lack of confidence and trust they have in running the ball in situations like this to help a guy like Mitch Trubisky. But like I said, too, I really do Trubisky right now. I mean, his career is on the line right now. I don't expect him to last long. I mean, patience just started to run out, but sometimes as a quarterback, you have to have that confidence and put this team on your back, and using your legs. You want a mobile quarterback. This is what they got. I mean, he's basically, they took a chance on him. He's here. And you know what? If you got to take heat from your coaches, as far as like you weren't supposed to call that, you got to take the heat for that. You had to show confidence to your coaches or sell off that you could get this. That's the problem I have with Mitch Trubisky right now. If he continues to be the starter. And speaking of which, on Paulie Muller show, the PM team on 937 The Fan, Mike Florio, who does like one of his weekly talks on NBC Sports, they made a reference about Mike Florio on the quarterback situation, more particularly with Mitch Trubisky and people trying to push for Kenny Pickett. Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
Florio did more digging and went on NBC Sports today and said this about the Steelers quarterback situation.
Trubisky is on thin ice with everyone in the organization except the head coach. And there's a strong push in that building to turn the page to Kenny Pickett. And the frustration was that Trubisky isn't pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
These guys are open and he's not throwing the ball.
Everyone but Mike Tomlin.
Who must love the fact that he's not turning it over.
And there you go. I mean, that's the biggest key right there. Frustrated he is not pulling the trigger. Keywords right there indeed. I mean, when you look at Trubisky, I mean, coming into this situation, I mean, he definitely needs a lot more help, but at the same time, in fairness, they're not giving him a lot of freedom and reins to make adjustments. He pretty much has to clear that with the coaches. But I mean, as a result, I mean, here's what's happening right now. He's still completing 60% of his passes, threw for 569 yards, only 5.5 yards per attempt. that's one of the disturbing trends right there. Because when you're trying to be a passer in this league, one thing that many people will remind you, especially guys like Pierre King and Mike Florio, you want as a quarterback yards per attempt want to be 7 yards or above, and he is not doing that right now. I mean, and Trubisky, his career at best right now, for what he's did as a quarterback, he's under that mark. He's about over 6.5 yards. And you can always keep pointing to, well, he wins. He's got a winning record as a starter, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, too, it's just him having to do more and open things up fluently. We all have our doubts on that. But I will say this right now. I think Trubisky right now, I mean, he's definitely on his last legs, to say the least. And I do believe, if anything, we will be seeing some changes come in due time for the moment. But we'll see how this continues to pan out. But for right now, it's not really looking good for his chances. They gotta figure something out, and they gotta do something a little bit more efficiently to get the ball rolling here, and we'll find out how it pays off. But for right now, this team could be in trouble right now. I mean, this game right here, if they're somehow lose this game, they could possibly have their first losing season under Mike Tomlin, and that'd be a damn shame. And speaking of Mike Tomlin too, just wanted to go into one little stat real quick here. One little nugget I found was that coaches who have record-wise since their last Super Bowl. I mean, Mike Tomlin, he has had the most one and dones since amongst any coach since their last Super Bowl with 5. That is every coach who has coached in the Super Bowl. He's got the most with 5. The next 2 that come after him have 4, and that is Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan of the Seattle Seahawks and Denver Broncos. I mean, other than that, too, I mean, he's also leads his current coaches who are in this league with the most one-dones at 5s. And he has, in his win-loss record, is 6 amongst current coaches. He has 3-7 behind Pete Carroll right there. And that's where it is. It's just, we know he loves to keep his he wants to stay competitive. He does everything he can to win. But at the same time, the repeating trend comes as of late. They've been quickly being bounced out of the first round of the playoffs. They've been 0-4 since their Patriots lost an AFC Championship game, and it has not looked good since then. Period. And that's where we look at. The only good thing I could say right now about Mike Tomlin, he has got an incredible winning record in the month of October, which is his favorite month. He has 41-15 in that month. And basically, for him, I mean, he has had a winning record in that month. 12 times so far. 12 months. I mean, 12 seasons where he's had winning record in October. So we'll see. This is going to be a huge test. Right now, as they'll have 5 games this month, we'll see. And I'm not going to say they're going to win all 5. I mean, that'd be a little bit ridiculous. But the last time they did have 4 wins in the month of October was back in 2017, 5 years ago, where they beat the Ravens on the road. They lost to the Jaguars, and then they beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, the Bengals, and the Lions in Detroit on Sunday Night Football. So there you have it right there. Also going to this game, New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, says Zach Wilson fully participated in practice again and is off the injury report. He will be making his debut today right here. Zach Wilson, he is another guy who has struggled in this league right now, as he has been a first round pick in last year 2021 draft. He was the second overall pick right there, coming out of BYU, and he's threw 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. I mean, his college stats, so I mean, to say the least, I mean, he was a little bit much better than that. He had 56 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, threw for over 7,652 yards, averaging 9.1 yards per attempt. Now, the average, I mean, coming into his pro career, it's only 6.1, so a little bit disappointing. Trying to get some confidence for this team right now. Roster updates right now for the Steelers right now. They once again signed cornerback Marcus Gilbert. He is back in their practice squad. They have released center Ryan McCullum. As per the injury report, the only player who didn't practice all week was left cornerback Akilo Witherspoon, who has a hamstring. He has been ruled out, and right cornerback Cam Sutton with a groin. He appeared on Friday as a limited participant. The Jets, the only guy they will be without is defensive line Quincy Williams going to this game. Okay, let's also look into this real quick too. Keys to the game real quickly. Key number 1, pass rush. Right outside linebacker Alex Highsmith. He'll be matched up versus left tackle Connor McDermott in today's game. Highsmith, he has been the leading sacker in all their games. He had 3 in the opener and 1.5 last week versus the Browns right there. He can find a way to continue to heat up right there and get a little bit of help. I think the Steelers be fine for a win in this game versus the Jets right now. Because as you look at it right now, the Steelers, I mean, sacks, which is still their special category, they're 8th in the league. While as far as like the Jets are protecting the quarterback, they've given up. They're in the top 10 of surrendering a lot of sacks. They got 9th for the season, which ranks 9th, by the way. Key number 2 will be Steelers secondary versus Garrett Wilson. Garrett, who left the first half of this past Sunday's game versus the Bengals with a rib injury, is a potential star in the making. He leads all Jets wide receivers with 214 yards and 2 touchdowns. That would be another key right there. I mean, Garrett Wilson, when you look at this Jets team, as far as like what he's able to do right now, because right now, I mean, he's caught in 2 touchdowns for the year this season. And he's had some big games so far, and most famously for getting 2 touchdowns versus the win versus the Browns 2 weeks ago back in First Energy Stadium in Cleveland right there. As we looked at it, I mean, Garrett Wilson right there, I mean, at the end of the day, he had the game-winning touchdown that game shortly after about 10 plays or so later when they got the onside kick recovery. Joe Flacco hit him for a 15-yard touchdown pass right there. And in that game versus the Browns right there, I mean, Garrett Wilson, for that matter, he led both teams with receiving yards. He had 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, as long as it was a 31-yard pass right there. So watch out for him today. Key number 3, and I mentioned this category quite a few times, simplify the third down conversions. It has been well documented they converted 10 of 24 on attempts of 5 yards or less. Through the air, they are 42% on the season. While they have been perfect in that category this season, you got to make this way a little bit simpler. And that's what we saw from Najee Harris and Jalen Warren in this game right here. I mean, that is going to be a little bit of a true test right here and see if they can get that going, because Jets right now got a pretty good run defense. They're 13th in the league right there, and you got Steelers who are ranked 24th. If they can find a way to break that down and continue to heat up, that'd be a good sign right there. And then my final key will be Ahmad Sauce Garner versus Steelers wide receivers. He held Jamar Chase to 6 receptions last week for 29 yards off of 10 targets. So far this season, he has allowed 76.9% of passes being completed despite leading his team with 4 pass deflections. Those be the keys to the game. And real quickly, too, I want to mention real quick shout out and congratulations to this year's Steelers Hall of Honor inductees, basically. And this year's class for the Pittsburgh Steelers going into their team Hall of Fame. You have the late Myron Cope right there, who was a broadcaster for 35 years, beginning in 1970, who's been part of the 4 Super Bowl championships from the Steel Curtain Dynasty right there. Very good contributor right there. You also got well-respected and revered tight end Heath Miller, who's played 11 seasons right there. He's earned 2 Pro Bowls along with 2 Super Bowl championships. Then you got left guard Sam Davis, who was also a 4-time Super Bowl champion, played 13 seasons with the Steelers from 1967 to 1979. And then last but not least, halfback and right end Ray Matthews, who was on the Steelers right there long before they started winning. He was played from 1951 1960. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. So congratulations to those men right there. Is well deserved right there. And we'll see what continues to happen right there. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you very much for those of you taking the time to tune in. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media at MattaSteelCGR and on Instagram at MattaSteelNations. I leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Congratulations to those proud men who are in the Steelers Hall of Honor. As always, leave it. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone. Thank you for watching the MattaSteel podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest MattaSteel podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.